Gentlemen, let's do something crazy. Before we start the Vermintide content, I'm gonna do something insane. Going to TommyKay Discord, and I'm going to the video reaction channel. This is videos that people have sent that I should react to. Discord Pixel, say a random number between 1 and 10. 1 and 10. Here we go. Let's see what the community has for us. Pixel, say a number between 1 and 10. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gentlemen, TommyKay reacts. What do we have here?
Some groups just...
Wait, that's actually epic, man. That's actually really good. Thank you, Morp. That's actually really good. What is this? World War Ants? By the way, before we start this, I'm a huge ant fan. My entire life, I've been studying ants. When I was a kid, I had to always chill in the garden with my parents. You know, East Germans, they always go to the garden on the weekend, and I always had to go there. I was really bored. And what I will do all the time as a kid is I will study the ants. I will take a big rock, open it, and then I found an ant farm. And I was a cunty kid, right? I will kind of play God. I will make floods. I will fucking burn them. But then later I appreciated them. And I was studying ants. I was like, how did they react? How do they work? I'm a big ant fan. F in the chat for all the ants I killed when I was a kid. Fucking suck,
Some
man.
groups just don't get along.
But
Every day, billions
so
of soldiers fight a merciless war on thousands of fronts, and it's been going on for over 100 million years. The World War of the Ants.
I've heard a while ago that ants are kind of taking over the world. They're ultra successful everywhere. They're taking over everywhere in the world, and there's a lot of them and a lot of plagues. When I was driving around Sardinia, there was always commercials on the highway for anti-ant companies that take care of the ants. Is the camera okay? Ants are cool.
Ants are ancient beings that arose around 160 million years ago and took over a wide variety of ecological niches so successfully that they became one of the dominant animals on planet Earth. Today, they count more than 16,000 different species with over 10,000 trillion individuals. Collectively, ants alone make up 20% of the entire animal biomass on land.
Digga, what? Every fifth biomass on land is an ant.
Similar to humans, their recipe for success is collaboration.
Oh, that's really interesting. I want to talk about something. Here we go, reaction streaming. So, can I recite this correctly? So I was reading a book. I'm still reading it right now. On vacation. I never read books, but on vacation you have time. And the book is this one. Very, very successful. Sold many, many times. Homo Deus, the future of humanity. And he's talking about why are humans successful? What is the main reason we are successful other than biological reasons of growing a brain, whatever? What makes, and I really learned so much from this book, what makes humans so fucking successful? What do you think, chat? What do you think? Adaptation? Yeah, a lot of animals adapt. Ants have been adapting for 160 years, but now still ants are not the big winners on this planet. Cooperation. Here we go. Very interesting. You say cooperation, which is kind of true, but ants have been collaborating for 160 million years, but still they didn't take over this planet. We did. And the answer is, and I forgot. There was this chapter, it's about, yes, collaboration, but humans have a different kind of collaboration. There's a word for it, but I forgot it. You know, like, a lot of animals cooperate, chimpanzees, ants, but they don't take over the world. They are just cooperative in their little bubble. Human cooperation has a different attribute than all other races on this planet, which led to us taking over more. Yes, I remember it. Global cooperation, global trade, stuff like that. An ant, yeah, I got the answer. Yeah, I got it. When you look at animals and their cooperation, it's local cooperation. An ant state will cooperate within itself, maybe interact with the next one, but they don't cooperate with the one 1 kilometer away, the one in China, the one in India, the one in Australia. Humans reached a higher level because we went to global over local cooperation, especially 10,000 years ago when the big farming revolution started. We will start trading with different countries, different villages, and this led to a lot of our success. I totally recited that like a noob, but hey, heavily educated.
While a single ant is pretty useless, together they are able to...
And yeah, I learned from the book. The book is really about, you need to cooperate. Cooperation really leads to stuff. I was thinking about this. When I play Florence in EU4, I lose. So you have to use global human cooperation. What does that mean? I open my phone, I Google Florence guide. A guy sitting somewhere in the world made a guide about Florence. I learn it, I'm successful. It is really what makes us very successful, man.
Achieve stunning feats. They construct complex colonies, care for livestock, pursue agriculture, or have complex symbiotic relationships. And of course, ants wage war. Even among the same species, a constant state...
When I was a kid, maybe I can show this. Dude, this is so old now. A lot of you young kids will be like, what? Look, when I was a kid, like 9 years old, I would watch TV. And TV was very different back then. And what they would show on TV back then was really old nature documentaries. Like from the 60s and 70s. What is that? Old ant documentary. And I remember there was this legendary thing. No, it was like from the 60s or some shit. It wasn't new like this. But I remember as a kid, I would always watch this. But nah, this is all too new. There was like this really old thing from the 60s. And I was this kid and I'm in my bed, I'm watching TV. And suddenly there's this huge war with these ants and they're filming everything. There's two armies and they're clashing and they're beheading each other and bam, 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 bam. And I was a kid like, what the fuck? It blew my mind, dude. It blew my mind. Maybe that's why I became a EU4 gamer. Because of that fucking ant content. But it was like so old, man. There's like this legendary, it's on Disney Plus. This one! This was my childhood. This was my childhood. Really old documentaries. I would watch them all the time, dude. So interesting. It's on Disney Plus if you have it. Yeah, that was my childhood. Watching this so much, man. And it went on the kids channel. It was always on the kids channel. Yeah, that's why I watched it probably. Yeah.
Of conflict is pretty
common.
common.
My dad all the time. Yeah,
skirmishes, raids, and full-on invasions are happening every day, causing millions of casualties.
It was so good, man.
Let's look at some of the most interesting ones in a...
And I gotta say, Disney is making unbelievable nature documentaries, man. Truly, if you ever take something from me, if you have Disney Plus, go to Disney Plus tonight and watch... What's it called? With the chimpanzee that's called Charlie? Or Oscar the chimpanzee. It's... what maybe the best documentary I've ever seen, man. David Attenborough is very high level, but the Oscar chimpanzee documentary on Disney Plus is so fucking good, man. You follow a chimpanzee in his life, and there's an amazing plot twist in the end, which really happened. It wasn't made up, and it's just mind-blowing. You have to watch that, man. It's
a series of videos.
So cool.
In this one, the army ant, a swarm made for war. The army ant group consists of about 200 different species. Army ants do not build nests, they live a sort of nomadic lifestyle with groups of millions of individuals. On a hunt, some species form large columns up to 100 meters long, killing and immediately dismembering every insect or small vertebrate they encounter.
They are kind of Mordor of the animal kingdom, right? This is just... Exit full screen? What? Shut up. This is kind of... These guys are like the evil Dark Lords.
The biggest hunting parties can kill up to 500,000 animals per day.
Jesus Christ, are you fucking
Some
kidding me?
army ants specialize in hunting and consuming other social insects like termites, wasps, and especially other ants. Wasps are fierce and may seem invulnerable, but if a swarm makes its way to their colonies, they don't even stand a chance. The much bigger and stronger wasps might kill a few of them, but they are quickly overwhelmed. Even if their queen survives an attack, the army ants steal the colony's larvae and quickly devour them. There is no recovery from that.
Scary, man. Whenever I see shit like this, I'm really happy that we are on the top of the food chain. Like, imagine you live in a city and every fucking 2 months, it's like... and the ants are just coming and they take your mom and she's gone and you're like, okay.
When army ants discover another ant colony, they immediately attack. Now you might think this would be a more even battle, but it's not. Because army ants act as a social unit, they are especially dangerous and effective. Most army ants are not particularly impressive individually, but they can overwhelm their victims with sheer numbers before the victim colony can mount an effective defense. and so invasions tend to be won by the attackers, and the prey colony is damaged significantly or is...
Makes sense. I know you guys are all history nerds. I once read this thing that about 80% of battles in history, like in human history, were completely one-sided. A huge chunk of all battles the human race ever had were almost always heavily one-sided.
Exterminated.
Really,
interestingly, army ants
equal.
Don't fight army ants.
Oh, my food is here.
When two swarms...
I've been thinking for many years, and I think we talked about this on stream often, and you guys actually had good answers. But something I've been thinking about so often in my life is this. How is it that ants had 160 million years of time and are still on this cognitive level? They're not on top of the food chain. And how is it that humans came around, what, 10 million years ago or something, and took over so much? How did it happen that the humans are so successful? Because small brain. Because of the hive mind? Like, I always think about what has to happen that a race gets intelligent. Like, it brings us to the question, do aliens exist? What needs to happen on an exoplanet that allows life, that a race reaches a new level of cognitive level? Imagine, here's a question I have. Listen to this. I want to hear your answer on this. Imagine right now, we delete all humans and primates on this planet. All primates and humans are gone. Planet Earth is now alone. There's elephants, tigers, ants, all that shit. Do you think if we give the planet 10 million years and come back, an intelligent race will be on the planet? That is such an interesting question. I think the answer is no. Most likely not. But doesn't that then show you how lucky it is that mammals were made after the dinosaurs died out, slowly evolved into primates? And then I read this book, this history book, that explained some million years ago in Africa, the monkeys started to eat meat. And the protein of the meat helped their brains evolve more and shit. And then they started using stone tools or some shit. In 100 million years? Reproduction favors intelligence. 100 million years maybe? And you have to understand, listen to this, chat. Some of you are saying in 100 million years, yes, maybe a race will evolve. Here's the thing. The universe is 13.7 billion years old. Life is possible since 5 billion years old. I know this. You can read this shit. Because 5 billion years ago, there was enough temperature and shit that exoplanets could be formed. So now, you are saying it will take, for example, insects, maybe 100 million, let's say 500 million years to become intelligent, to reach a new level. And they had 5 billion years out in the universe. Doesn't that mean like there has to be aliens out there? And maybe they're insectoid or something? I don't know. It just always blows my brain how lucky we are that we are here. How many things had to come together so the human race exists. And it's such a scary thought. Are we the first ever to reach this level? Is there others like us? Are we the only ones in the universe because we're the only one that were lucky to reach this?
One of the largest brains,
it's crazy, man.
Develop combined with our bodies that allow us to create and use advanced tools than
cry.
any other species.
And not true. You say we have the largest brains. There is animals that have bigger brains than us. Still, we are far more evolved than them. I think I once read this. I read this history book, and it's about they started eating meat, and the protein or some shit went to the brain, and it helped the brain develop or some shit. I read something like that. I don't remember. So just think about all the coincidences that had to occur for you to exist. Yeah, that is mind blowing, right? For 13.7, and this is where I kind of see God. This is where I'm like, dude, there has to be some higher power. For 13.7 billion years, random ass shit happened that luckily culminated your dad impregnating your mom, and now you're here watching TommyKay. The chance of that happening in a 13.7 billion year old universe is unimaginable. It's so mind blowing, man, and it shows you how it's crazy, man. Crazy.
Encounter each other in the wild, they either pass through each other, ignoring the other swarm, or both colonies just move away. Which makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint. Army ants that fought other army ants probably eradicated themselves millions of years ago. Indeed, they're so deadly that other ant species had to specialize to survive their presence. Many species just panic and evacuate their nest when they notice army ant scouts carrying as many larvae with them as they can in order to return.
If a guy's saying, if ape brains evolve like ours, they can destroy us. Okay, man. Okay, dude.
Build Lego and watch
You're watching too much Planet of the Apes. I mean, I read, you guys read that too, that some monkeys in Africa have reached the Stone Age now. They're using stone tools. Because I'm always imagine somewhere out there in the Milky Way galaxy, there is an exoplanet. I think about this so much, but obviously like an amateur. Out there is a planet that is just like ours. Temperature, water, everything is good. And here's another weird thing. What needs to happen that this point happens where the primates, like on our planet, reach higher levels that leads to the Homo sapiens, what you discuss right now? What needs to happen? What needed? I have these crazy thoughts. Imagine, here we go. Imagine the dinosaurs would have never died out. Imagine you have a different planet that just has the same storyline as ours, but they never had the global extinction event. They never had the comet. That is unimaginable. Imagine that global extinction event would have never happened. Do you think velociraptors would have maybe developed to a higher level? And now we will be fucking lizard people? Maybe we are lizard people. Look at Zuckerberg, yeah. This shit blows my mind. It's just blowing my mind. How would the world look like if the raptors will, if dinosaurs wouldn't have died out? Blows my mind completely.
And rebuild after the attack.
Yeah, you never know the answer, but
other species have invented.
Thank you, P-Man. That's why we should be
even more grateful that we can have this life
so
and
good.
explore the universe. This link shows you the scale of civilizations.
What's that? The Kardashev scale. The Kardashev scale is a method of measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement based on the amount of energy it's able to use. The measure was proposed by the Soviet astronomer Kardashev. What? There's 3 types of civilizations. What the fuck? There's planetary civilizations that can use and store all of energy available on its planet. Number 2, they can use the planetary system's energy. Doesn't that mean we're level 2 because we lose solar energy? And number 3 can use galaxy energy. Okay, what the fuck? The current status of the human civilization. At the current time, humanity has not yet reached Type 1 civilization status. What? Physicist and futurist Mikio Kaku suggested that if humans increase their energy consumption at an average rate of 3% each year, they may attain Type 1 status in up to 200 years. Type 2 status in a few thousand years. Carl Sagan suggested defining intermediate values by interpolating and extrapolating the values given. Okay, what? Okay, interesting. Dude, shit like that, I could reach it. I'm so interested in this stuff, man.
Living bunkers
So
since
cool.
fighting is so futile. They have worker classes that have big square heads. When army
Chat,
ants
please,
show
a
up,
monkey can 1 versus 1 me, but I have AR-15, so.
Thank you, bro, for the $1, and thank you, Shrifty, for your great message. Thank you for the $5.
they use them to block the entrances to their nests, so the attackers
They used their head to block an entrance, man.
have to give up
Just like
after a
you, yeah.
while. But not everybody is afraid of army ants.
That was like
Leafcutter
Spartan
ants
style.
form some of the largest and most complex societies of any animal other than humans. They live in extensive nests many meters deep and across, harboring millions of citizens
5
with a
meters,
highly
man.
sophisticated
They're this big and they go down 5 meters. That's like building 5 million Empire State Buildings, right?
division of labor. Like huge soldiers, 100 times more massive than a worker.
Yeah, that's what I showed on the... I dropped a piece of chicken on my balls. I showed that yesterday, live on video. Thank you, Pointy. We're gonna go back to Florence today.
Their
Playing a
sole
bit better.
purpose might be to defend their colonies against army ants. They still have a nemesis, though.
Okay, my balls are all...
The diet of the army
clean.
ant
I will
species
just go back.
Nomomyrmex eisenbeckii consists mostly of the larvae of other ants. Compared to other army ants, they have a more robust...
You know what kind of video game we need? An ant simulation. When I was a kid... Oh, I was so sad. When I was a kid, I would always steal the CDs from gaming magazines. You know, the €5 gaming magazines in the store. I could never fucking afford it. And there was this really old game where you have your own ant colony and you build them up. Is there like new ones? What's it called? That's a kind of new game. Damn, what? Super positive. Hey, let's do 16-hour stream. Wait, what? Everybody, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Listen to me. Listen to TommyKay. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine you're watching a female streamer. 3, 2.
Ants. They're
Wow.
organized, industrious,
That's cool.
and hungry. But in the undergrowth, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
I always wanted to play a game like this as a kid. This game is really hard. Dude, there's like a king tiger tank ant. What the fuck? I'm spinning everywhere. I'm so disgusting. I could really imagine playing this on
In the
16
end,
hours stream or something.
only one colony will secure
How's
victory
it?
over the outworld and take its
Hey!
place amongst the...
Schnauze. Okay, sorry.
Cast.
Play
So
that.
far, they are the only known species that can successfully attack a mature colony of leafcutters.
Heavy armor.
When they find a leafcutter colony, hundreds of thousands attack in a long column. The moment the leafcutter ants notice the army ant attack, they go into crisis mode and immediately alert their soldiers, who very quickly swarm to the site of attack.
So
A
interesting,
front
man.
line develops that can
How this shit developed over millions of years.
be a few meters
Crazy.
wide and up to a meter deep. The leafcutter soldiers go head to head with the army ants, lock in on them and try to cut through their heads. Smaller leafcutter workers help by grabbing the enemies. Small teams carry out attacks behind the front line where they dismember their
They have commandos? Make an ant commando game. You're like paratrooping behind enemy lines. You're like, tick, 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 tick. I would play
enemies
that.
by ripping
They
their
have
legs
fucking
from their bodies.
commandos?
The attackers,
SAS
meanwhile,
special
try
ant
to swarm
service?
their victim soldiers and sting them to death in a mob.
What the fuck?
Despite the powerful defense and the determined response, the army ants are still
Isn't it crazy how I clicked on a random video on my reaction channel and it actually was good? Shout out to Chad, man. Good job.
superior in numbers. So without knowing if the battle can be won, the leafcutters prepare for the worst. Workers rush to create barricades and seal off as many entrances to their nest as possible to secure their brood. If the leafcutters are not able to repel the invaders, or at least barricade enough of their entrances in time, the army ants swarm the nest, overrunning all opposition. They penetrate deep into the hidden chambers and steal tens
That's what she said.
of thousands of the leafcutters' brood to eat them. Even if the leafcutter colony survives, this is a heavy blow. Regardless who's won the war, thousands lay slain on the battlefield. When the army ants attack, death follows
And
them.
there's like videos of these battles on YouTube. I could watch them all day, man.
But there are other
they're like my
species that
ASMR.
form much more dangerous ant armies. Species that form super colonies covering thousands of square kilometers over multiple continents, engaging in wars.
Help me, Chad. I read this thing months ago where there's a certain type of ant that was accidentally imported to another continent and is now fucking the whole continent up. Is that the fire ant in America? Who knows that? Is it the fire ant in America? The yellow crazy ants. Argentinian ant. I've read that and it's there's also a video about that. And it's completely taking over everything. It's really bad.
Kilometers across. They deserve
There's
their
another
own video,
on that, by
though.
the way.
No matter the scale, war is a part of ant existence, be it between huge colonies or small groups trying to fend off a raid. In tropical rainforests, but also in the cracks of the concrete we walk over every day.
And as an amateur ant expert that I am, I read a lot about them. It is still up to debate nowadays how do they communicate. It seems like what happens, they communicate over little pheromones, little mini smells. For example, oh man, I thought, ow, ah, I have a piece of rice in my eye. Here's a trick: when you have something in your eye, I learned that. I'm not even kidding. I literally learned that years ago. Listen. You have something in your eye. You take your hand. You take your eyelid. You put it away. Like this. And then you move your eye. Yeah. I think it's gone now. Oh, that really hurt. Ouch. I was about to say something. Yeah, they talk with pheromones, with little smells. And when I was a kid, and just on my vacation on the beach, I was testing out ants. I was looking at them. And you can really test that. An ant finds something to eat, for example, my used ice cream, and goes back and then makes these little pheromones and tells the others, follow me, I found something. It's very, very intelligent, very intelligent.
Humans have decided that war is not a thing that they want to do a lot anymore. For ants, though, the other ant will always be the enemy. No, some groups just don't get along.
This blows my mind. So, there's ants on the top and termites on the south. And these animals are clever enough to realize they have to build a little wall. This blows my complete mind. This completely blows my mind. These little monkey animals have enough intelligence to make shit like this. You know what? This is sad. Ants know how to coexist. They're like, oh, let's coexist. And if you have like Israel and Palestine here, ants know better how to coexist at some points than humans. Isn't that crazy? Border Patrol. So this was the first ever video I took randomly off the reaction channel. Rick Can, whatever the fuck your name is, good job, man. Good job. That was actually good.